What's up, ring slingers? It's the Emerald Enthusiast back with another Green Lantern collectible review. This time I'll be looking at the Jakks Pacific DC Comics Sonic the Hedgehog crossover figure of Silver the Hedgehog as a Green Lantern. The packaging is a card and bubble design. It's a sturdy card, and there's a deep bubble to accommodate the figure. On the front, we see artwork of John Stewart as well as Silver the Hedgehog, and on the back, we get a full-body product shot. Mint on card collectors should be very happy with this figure's appearance. And here is Silver the Hedgehog, free of the package and ready to rumble. Obviously, as a Green Lantern collector and podcaster, I have a great deal of knowledge about the Green Lantern characters. However, I only had a passing knowledge of the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. So I sought out the input of my oldest child, Beck, who's a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. This is Beck's description of Silver the Hedgehog and his role in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. Silver is from a future timeline, and his primary goal is to ensure peace in his time by resolving the issues of the past. Silver is psychokinetic, and he's part of the Chaotix with Sonic, Blaze, and Espio. His first appearance was the Sonic the Hedgehog video game from 2006. Silver's hopeful and optimistic nature, as well as his mental powers, make him a perfect fit for a thought-based weapon like a Green Lantern ring. This is the first time that I've ever purchased a Sonic the Hedgehog collectible, and I am quite impressed with this figure. There's a great deal to like about the work of Jakks Pacific here, although there are a couple of minor issues, so let's have a closer look at the loose details now. Let's have a look at the boots now, and these are obviously a different color scheme than Silver usually wears, but Green Lanterns usually have green boots, although it depends on the lantern. I like the shade of green that Jakks chose here. I think this looks better than a lighter shade would. You can see that the tops of the boots are sculpted, and there are also some wrinkles sculpted in for a layer of realism. And the feet are a character accurate size, and this helps the figure's balance. Now let's look at the symbol on the chest, and the work here is outstanding. The outer circle of the symbol is sculpted, and the lantern shape itself is also sculpted. There's some very minor sloppiness with the paint application, although that's probably just a quality control issue that will vary from figure to figure. But with that being said, I have seen figures on Green Lantern figures from far more expensive lines that aren't executed nearly this well. Speaking of good execution, here is a close-up of the ring, and I am thoroughly impressed. Given that the ring is so central to the concept of a Green Lantern, a poorly executed ring can really sink a figure. However, in this case, the ring is an adequate size, it is on the correct finger, and the Green Lantern Corps symbol is sculpted within the ring. There is a very slight amount of sloppiness with the paint application underneath the sculpt of the ring. However, I obviously have this shot magnified, so it's not otherwise noticeable. Here's a look at the back of the figure, and these protrusions, which some fans call quills, other fans call spikes. I'm going to call them spikes because that's what they look like to me. But what I really appreciate here is that there's a definite distinction between the black sections of the uniform and the green sections. You can see defined edges around the green sections and also wrinkles sculpted in to make this seem like clothing around the spikes. Here is a close-up of the head sculpt, and I looked at many pictures of Silver, and I watched several videos of the character in preparation for this review, and I definitely think that this is accurate. The shape of the nose, the shape of the eyes, and the shape of the spikes have all been executed with precision. My only criticism here is that I wish that the eyes would have either been a solid white or green. In the comics, Green Lanterns who wear masks often have white eyes, or they have green eyes if they don't wear masks, and that represents the emerald energy within their bodies. However, the yellow eyes are accurate for the character, so this really comes down to a matter of personal preference. Now let's have a look at articulation. The feet move backward and forward at the ankle joints. There's also an ample amount of pivoting, which helps with posing. The knees can be worked into this angle, so it's possible to get the figure into a deep running pose, and there's also quadricep swiveling, so that helps with posing options as well. The figure can achieve this much of a split. The figure steps back this much and can kick forward this far. I would have liked just a little more mobility in the hips. We also get upper torso swiveling, and you can see that joint work here. The figure also comes with finger joints, and these are very impressive. Very few lines have finger articulation, so I was very happy to see that. There's also rotation at the wrists, and it's possible to achieve this angle with the elbow joint. There is also bicep swiveling, and that will give you posing options as well. It is possible to do a 360 with the arms at the shoulder joints. However, it's necessary to move the head, otherwise you risk doing paint damage. Here's a look at the figure's wingspan. And this is impressive for this type of figure. In terms of the head articulation, the figure looks easily from side to side. There's some up and down movement. I believe there's a dumbbell joint in the neck, but I can't quite tell. And it is possible to move the head all the way around. I do want to make the point that this is definitely a collector-centric figure. These thin limbs with small joints will not hold up to rough play over time. I know that a lot of young kids like the Sonic characters, however, this figure has been made with older collectors in mind. I'd also like to point out that due to the character's design, this figure is a little top-heavy due to the head sculpt, so it's not that difficult for the figure to lose its balance. So make sure that the figure is posed properly to avoid the figure falling. You could also pose it against a wall, and the figure has peg holes, so if you have an extra peg stand somewhere, you could use that for the figure. This figure has been produced in the 5-inch scale, although measuring this figure out at the top of the center spike, it's actually closer to 6 inches. This figure has an MSRP of $14.99, which I think is very reasonable for such a well-made figure. I have already seen online sellers trying to gouge collectors, so my advice is to try to find this figure in the wild before making a purchase online. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review, and make sure to check out the rest of my Green Lantern content. You can also find me on the Emerald Echo podcast, where we cover the adventures of all of your favorite ring slingers. And that's available on the Multiverse Musings The Vidcast channel right here on YouTube. And I'll be back with more Green Lantern content soon. But until we meet again, this has been the Emerald Enthusiast, and thanks for watching!